everyone, welcome to So Jannelle. I'm your host, Jannelle So. Like a lot of the media outlets out there, what we're doing here on So Jannelle is giving you guys a lot of information about what's going on. I know there's a lot to take in, also coupled with fake news. Sometimes it's difficult to figure out which ones are fake and which ones are actually real. We are abiding by CDC guidelines, all the information that they're giving. Also, we're getting daily reports from the California State Governor's Office and the Los Angeles County and Los Angeles City. We are plugged into their daily briefings about what they're doing, some of the programs that they are rolling out to help the people in need affected by this global pandemic. When we talk about being affected anyway, all of us are affected in one way or another, and so we are now going on our week 5 of quarantine, and so we hope you guys are still keeping safe and staying sane, because that's very important. And that is why here on the show we also try to give you helpful tools on what to do during this time. Last week, if you missed our show, it is now available on our YouTube channel. We actually have two. We have the So Jannelle channel, that's youtube.com/SoJannelle, where we upload some of the more recent segments of the show, also commercial-free full shows that are streaming on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. So please catch us on that. That's Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Pacific time. Also, we have another channel called So Jannelle TV, and that's pretty new because what we're doing is we're uploading all the previous segments on the show, rather all the previous shows. We have finished uploading the first 2 seasons of the show. That's in 2017. We have interviews with Hollywood, Filipinos in Hollywood, Reggie Lee, Mark Dacascos, John Briones, Darren Chris. We have all that on our new YouTube channel, So Jannelle TV, because we know some of you don't want to hear the dark and doom of the times, and you want more uplifting stories, more entertaining, engaging, and that is the place to go. So 2 YouTube channels, www.youtube.com/SoJannelle, and the other new channel is So Jannelle TV. So please catch us on that. Meanwhile, on the show, we open the program now with some of the latest information about what's going on in our hospitals. Joining us via Skype today is Dr. Ashok Kumar, a pulmonologist in Hawthorne, California, who is affiliated with a lot of different hospitals in the area. He is also and has been an ICU doctor, managing critical care for 20 years. Dr. Kumar, hello and welcome to So Jannelle. Thank you for making time for us.
Sure.
Doctor, let's first talk about your specific hospital at Centinela. How has it changed since the coronavirus pandemic struck in terms of increasing numbers, in terms of being overwhelmed as a hospital?
The hospitals are getting overwhelmed. We are seeing more and more cases every day, and ICU are getting full with these cases. At Centinela, they have actually assigned 1 ICU and then 1 overflow ICU just for COVID patients. So the numbers we're looking at from 0 more than 2 weeks ago to 30 plus now.
Right. And when you see these patients that are eventually testing positive for the virus, what kind of symptoms do you see in them? Because I hear that it changes.
Yes. So you need to understand that we're talking about hospitalized patients. So these are actually quite more sicker than your across the board community-wise will be. That in community, we have actually a number of patients who are asymptomatic, or there are a number who have very minor symptoms in terms of body aches, pain, loss of appetite, loss of smell, loss of taste, and fever and cough. So when you get hospitalized, you get actually more sicker people who start having shortness of breath, or they having some other organ dysfunction, such as somebody has kidneys which start to fail, or they start having a lot more GI symptoms, but overwhelming predominantly respiratory. So we're seeing actually way more sicker people in the hospital who come in, and a lot of them end up on the ventilator.
Right, but when you talk about these symptoms, how much of the underlying factors play in?
We are seeing elderly people. We are seeing actually a large number of them coming from convalescent home, skilled nursing facilities, assisted living. These are elderly people who have underlying various medical problems such as diabetes, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, congestive heart failure, hypertension, dementia. So these are people who were sick to begin with, and now with this virus become super sick.
And I think it's because of that that people say, oh, I'm healthy, it's not going to affect me anyway. And we're trying to give information to debunk that thought.
We are seeing actually people who were previously totally healthy, and they're coming in, which they thought initially that they had something very minor, and a week later they develop into full-blown symptoms. Fortunately, we have not had that many young people, but they keep telling us that the numbers are going to go up, and we are getting ourselves geared up to take care of them.
In your experience, 20 years as an ICU doctor, how seriously should we take this?
So I just want to get this message across to people. Friends, this is not flu. This is nowhere near like flu. This is something which is very deadly virus, which affects everybody, whether you're young, you're old, you're underlying medical problem. Your chances of getting way more sicker goes up if you have underlying medical problem. But just because if you don't have underlying medical problem does not give you surety that you're not going to get sick, and it could be spreading to you. So that's why, in my opinion, the best treatment for this is prevention. The best place for you to stay is at home, social distancing, and also frequent washing hands with soap and water, cleaning your desk with desanitizer, cleaning your doorknobs, or anything you touch. That's where this deadly virus spreads from.
Well, thank you so much, doctor, and God bless you for everything that you're doing. Thank you for your sacrifice and your service.
If you are a homeowner and the coronavirus has affected your payment ability, getting mortgage relief can be so easy. Depending on your circumstances, you may receive a mortgage payment reduction or suspension for up to 12 months. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have ordered lenders to provide flexibility to homeowners, accounting for half of all home loans in the U.S. The entire mortgage industry will likely be instituting a similar policy, allowing people to make reduced payments or pause them completely. If you're experiencing financial hardship because of coronavirus, you can simply discuss your situation with your lender verbally. The process should be fast and easy. Prove your situation over the phone now, provide documents later. Homeowners will need to work out a repayment plan once they recover financially. Don't just stop making payments. That will ruin your credit. Instead, reach out to your servicer. Tell them that you're having problems associated with coronavirus or that your job has likewise been affected, and ask them to put into a forbearance program.
Thank you for sharing your afternoon with us here on So Jannelle. We are making an effort, extra steps, aside from working from home, taking care of the children. We are also wanting to make sure that all of you guys that are tuning into our program are getting the necessary information and tools to help you guys cope or to help each other cope during this global pandemic. We're saying that, and we're also seeing that a lot of health practitioners are being affected because they're out there, they are exposed, and it's not very difficult for them to catch the virus themselves. One such is Dr. Aichis, who is practicing from Beverly Hills, California. Here is her story. Dr. Sari Aichis, hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm so happy to see you well. That's the first question, is we open with your experience having tested positive for coronavirus. Take us through that.
Yeah, so I first got sick a month ago, actually, and it started off with just some symptoms that were a little bit easy to ignore in the beginning, just a little bit queasy and fatigued, but not any of the symptoms that were on the top of my mind. No fever, no cough, no shortness of breath. Those didn't happen until the second week of being sick. So it really did take me some time to come to terms with the fact that this is what I had.
So did anyone else in your household get it?
That's a really good question, and I'm really looking forward to being able to answer that. What I do know, I have two young children, they're 2 and 5. Around the time when I was sick, they had what we thought was a cold, just a runny nose and no fever, no cough really. My daughter had a little bit of a cough the following week, but they were not terribly sick. My husband didn't get sick at all. And in the next few weeks, we hope that there's going to be reliable antibody testing so that we can do a blood test and find out, do they have the antibodies? Did they get mild illness or asymptomatic illness in my husband's case and are now having some immunity? I think it's going to be so interesting to see how many people actually do have antibodies who didn't display the typical symptoms.
You recovered, and a lot of people are also recovering. Why are we not hearing so much about those recoveries?
Most of the patients that I have who are recovering from it, our diagnosis is clinical. It's just based on what their symptoms are. It's not based on testing at all. And so those cases we're not really hearing so much about. We're hearing the confirmed cases of the people who are sick enough to be tested, sick enough to be in the hospital.
Right, because now I'm getting from what you're saying is that it can hit people in varying degrees.
Absolutely.
Right. With that said then, when you've recovered from it, do you still have it? Can you still pass it on to others?
The assumption right now, and what the CDC says, is that once you've been if you've had the disease and you know that you've had symptoms that you can trace, once you've been asymptomatic for 3 days, then you're no longer considered to be contagious. For myself, I wasn't comfortable with that, so I waited a full 2 weeks, which is really just this week now for me, that I've been comfortable enough to, really.
Do we know that if you got it, can you still get it again? Do we know that?
That's a great question, and that's very important because, like I said before, we're really excited about doing these antibody tests, and the antibody test will be most meaningful if we can say, if you've had the antibody, if you've gotten it, then you have some degree of immunity. And that's an assumption. And based on everything that we know about how other viruses work, I would assume that you have some immunity, and it's unlikely that you'll get it again. And if you get it again, it's likely that you will be able to fight it off faster. But again, that's not proven.
We learned a lot, and thank you for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
If you're just joining us, we are giving you some more information, some more tools to help all of us cope during this time of global pandemic. Also, we are streaming our show, so it airs on Sunday for those of you or your friends and loved ones who don't have TFC. I hear this a lot. We are on YouTube. Starting Wednesdays, we are streaming our shows commercial free. So that's Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Pacific time. So please join us there. And again, a lot of the interviews that you're seeing are cut down versions for TV. We have the full versions on our YouTube channel as well. So we have 2 YouTube channels at So Jannelle and at So Jannelle TV. So make sure you subscribe to both, and make sure that you turn on your notifications so that every time we upload something new, that you see those new uploads as well. Especially in these times, we have to keep up because the guidelines are always changing. The information, the data is rising, the data, they're all always changing. So make sure you keep yourself informed. Meanwhile, on the show today, I'd also like to stop like Dr. Aiches, who picked up the virus, maybe from a patient, because she's always there. We're talking about the frontliners, the essential workers that are still going out, working, making sure that the community is safe, making sure that everyone is safe, and helping to cure those that have been affected. Here is our tribute to them.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Everyone's home because we have to stay safe from coronavirus. But some people are not staying home because they're taking care of us. Here are just a few of them. These nice people drive around and give us stuff so that we don't have to go out. They give us groceries and food, like mac and cheese. Sometimes they bring toys. Some people are still working in the stores so we can buy what we really need. Like when Daddy forgot to buy diapers for Leo. Some people still go out in their cool trucks to pick up trash from our house. Imagine what will happen if they didn't. Ew. These are the people who take care of the sick people. It's not safe for them. They do it to help people feel better. Here's a big salute to all of the frontliners. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you all for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. Mwah!
That's Lilly. You've met her a few times here on the show. She is my daughter, 4 years old. That's one of the things that we're doing as well. We're working from home, Lily's, myself and my husband, Lily's father. And we have started nurturing her love for talking and for filming, as she says. So we've started a YouTube channel for her where she talks to, a 4-year-old's perspective on what's going on right now about the coronavirus, about cabin fever, about quarantine, about eating healthy, about social distancing. So make sure you subscribe to her YouTube channel as well. That's www.youtube.com/life with Lilly. Meanwhile, here on the show, shelter in place, safer at home, but because of domestic violence for those who are living with abusers, safer at home, or the home is not always safe. We talked to a domestic violence survivor who is giving sharing with us her story and hopefully sharing insight that may help those who find themselves in similar situation or those who know of people in the same situation. Here is the story of Michelle Pierre. Michelle, you suffered abuse in the hands of your husband for 10 years. And we're talking to you now because I want you to talk to those people who may be finding themselves in that situation now.
You know, it's actually supposed to be safer at home, but if there's domestic violence that exists in a household, then I'm afraid that safer at home is not really the appropriate term to call this. So I really feel for those people staying at home right now and trying to endure the abuse, because I've been there before. And This is an unprecedented situation, and we really need to find ways to cope, especially when there's abuse.
First of all, I laud you for your courage in sharing, because I know that people are going to get something out of this. What were the triggers of the abuse?
The triggers could be little to big, types of situations, like, when I wear perfume, he didn't like it. He was very insecure, and he's like, okay, you're going out, you have perfume, why? Or we have different disciplining styles. So I had little kids back then, and my style was to put my kids on timeout. But he resorts to, let me call corporal punishment, not even spanking, sometimes hitting the kids in the back or the head.
Can you imagine if you were still in that situation and this coronavirus, a stay-at-home or shelter-in-place orders happen? Can you imagine what's it like for people that are going through that now?
I mean, for someone who had experienced this before, it's going to be tremendously difficult living with an abuser 24/7. I really feel for these people, and know that there are resources out there for them to use. First of all, of course, safety first. If you want to save your marriage, seek therapy, seek counseling. And if you just couldn't handle, just get out. Get some help from authorities and get out.
How did you find your voice? How did you get out?
I did realize that I need to take care of myself. And for me to be able to love and take care of my children, I need to love myself. And that was a starting point. And also, I seek therapy before, and he's never acknowledged that he has been an abuser. So in my opinion, it starts with acknowledging that he had issues, and we never got to that point. So I had to stand up for myself. I had to educate myself and understand what the laws are, and understand what are my tools to save my life and my kids' future.
For people that are ready to leave now, how did you leave?
It took me a while to come up with that decision. I always gave him chances. And after almost 10 years, he didn't only hit me, but he hit my son. So, I thought 10 years, it's not going to change. So I planned to, get out, find a job. I was a stay-at-home mom, so I found a job. I educated myself on what resources, the laws and the family law, what they can do for me. And slowly, I was able to support myself and my children.
So far, we've touched on a lot of topics here on the show, and that is our aim here on So Jannelle, is to keep you guys informed, also giving you tools on how to manage. And again, if you missed any of our segments here on the show, we are on YouTube at So Jannelle and at So Jannelle TV. Information on the screen. Please subscribe. Please watch our videos and turn on your notifications if you can, so you know that every time we upload something that you're on there. Rounding up our show now with more information about COVID. This time we are going to be joined by a personal friend of mine as well. Her daughter and my daughter Lilly go to the same school together. Dr. Ashok Kumar is a board certified internist who is licensed to practice in both California and in New York. Dr. Bata, hello and welcome to So Jannelle. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Doctor, I guess the first thing that I want to know is protocol. Like, for people out there that are watching, when do they call 911?
In terms of what alarm symptoms you want to look out for in yourself or someone you're caring for or a family member that would warrant an ER visit or a 911 visit, these are symptoms of severe lack of oxygen. So, for example, if you cannot catch your breath, if the coughing doesn't stop, if your loved one or yourself starting to notice that your lips may be turning a little bit blue, if your loved one or the person you're caring for or yourself is starting to feel a bit more confused, If the chest pain feels different, if you literally feel like you cannot catch your breath at all, this is very alarming and you should definitely call 911.
Right. And while there are people that are testing positive, and obviously there's more now, and there is also concern. So say, for example, your office mate that you had interaction with tested positive. What do you then do?
If you are in close interaction with somebody who is positive, you should probably also be self-quarantined. And again, speak to your primary care doctor or urgent care doctor, and they can help guide you on a case-by-case basis of whether or not you should go and get yourself tested. Because the only way that we can even control this is right now is getting anyone and everyone who may be positive isolated while they are still contagious. And that way this spreads the virus from getting even more widespread.
In terms of the peak, do you believe that we have reached the peak, or we're still on our way to peak, or can something be done so that we don't get to the peak?
What we are seeing in California especially, and widespread along the West Coast as of now, is that we seem to be in a situation where things are a bit contained. So we're not seeing huge rises in number. That doesn't mean that we're seeing a decrease in number either. We're seeing sort of what we call a plateau. However, we are seeing certain areas that are becoming a bit concerning, and these are the nursing homes and the convalescent homes. We are seeing huge numbers of our elderly patients who are in the nursing facilities who are already sick or immunocompromised. These are usually patients that are going directly to the ICU. So while we have some promising information that we might be at a plateau here, we definitely don't know, and the worst could be yet to come as we see that there is still widespread disease out there.
Suffice to say, we still cannot rest on our laurels.
Absolutely. Everyone is figuring this out as we go, and so we thank everybody for being patient with us and trusting us. But for now, stay home, stay distant from one another, and stay positive too.
Once again, thank you so much for joining us on So Jannelle. I hope today's show gave you a lot of information, a lot of tools to help you manage and live with the new world, the new reality that we have now that is dealing with a global pandemic. If you missed any of our shows or any of our segments, please log on to our YouTube channels. Subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. We have 2 channels. So Jannelle is where we upload some of our more recent segments. Also starting to stream commercial-free shows on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Pacific time, and also on So Jannelle TV, where we have uploaded all the full shows commercial-free of the early seasons of the show starting from 2017. So make sure you catch that as well. And again, of course, on TV next week, same time, same channel. I'm your host, Jannelle So, and this has been So Jannelle.